You do it.
Good evening and welcome to the Human Rights Commission regular meeting. Today is Monday, December 9th, 2024, and it is 5:30. I would like to call this meeting to order. And I will ask our staff liaison to do roll call, please.
Thank you, good evening. Chair Loyola.
Here.
Present. Vice Chair Vignolo.
I'm present.
Commissioner Horn.
Present.
Commissioner Remus has an excused absence this evening. Commissioner Winkie.
Here.
Commissioner Greer.
Here.
Commissioner Cleary is not present. We do have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you so much. We have no presentations for item 3. So we're gonna move on to item 4 in the agenda, which is the acceptance of the agenda. This commission will discuss the order of the agenda and amend it. Add items for neighboring items to the agenda for discussion. Do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
I move to accept the
Okay,
agenda.
we have a motion by Commissioner Winkie. Do I have a second?
I can second.
Okay, Commissioner Horn seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. Please say aye, raise your hand if we want to accept
Aye.
the agenda.
Aye.
Wonderful. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and these will be the meeting minutes that took place on October 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion to accept the meetings as presented?
I move to accept them.
Okay, Commissioner Winkie moves to accept. Do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Horn seconds. Any further discussion on the meetings minutes? All right, let's take a vote. Those in favor say aye, raise your hand
Aye. Aye.
for the record. Thank you very much. So for the item 6, the welcome and comments from myself as the chair. The one comment I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that following the elections, the community really feels that there's a need to have a conversation about, everyone's rights. And we did have an event, a community event that took place this week. Was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Was it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday, and it took place at the convention center. Vice Chair Vignolo and myself were in attendance. I would say that it was a very well attended event. It was very well organized. A lot of folks were given the opportunity to express their concerns and provide suggestions. I believe our chief of police did a fantastic job moderating and presenting. Also reminding everyone the difference between hate crimes and hate speech. They presented a very clear vision for how the entire police force is keeping us safe here at home. And there was a great number of civic leaders participating as well. So overall, I think that was a very successful event, but that's also a reminder of what's in people's minds, which I think is going to be an interesting and a very clear direction that we need to think about for next year. And how do we engage with organizations that already have the infrastructure, the resources, the tools to help the community feel that they're going to be protected, that our rights are going to be protected, and so on and so forth. So that's going to obviously be one of the very important items that we're going to discuss over the next 12 months. But it was a really wonderful event, and so I commend the city and everyone who organized.
Could I?
And those are my comments.
Question? I was wondering how you saw the role of the Human Rights Commission in this particular activity, so it's so important.
Yeah, so gratefully, both Mayor Bernstein and others recognized the attendance and participation of human rights commissioners. And there were a couple of very favorable comments about, we're gonna be working toward making sure that everyone's rights are protected, and that's gonna give us a little bit of direction with regards to how do we engage with organizations that are already out there providing this level of support and resources and knowledge. So overall, I think that was a really, really great event, and I was really happy to see the Vice Chair, myself really being there, engaging with folks as well. Okay.
I was not in town, I would have attended.
Yeah.
Commissioner Horn was there too.
I was there.
Oh, Commissioner Holmes.
I wasn't vocal.
Yeah. So see, so we were there, and it was a wonderful event. So for the public, we want you to know that this was a very important event and we were there. Item 7 on the agenda is public comments. I believe we did not receive any requests for public comments.
We've received no public comments, but I believe you do have some comments from Commissioner Remus that you could share with the group.
This would be a good time to share Commissioner Remus' comments. He sent an apology note to us earlier today that he couldn't be here today. He's not feeling well, but he plans to attend the January 2025 meeting. And he sent this note on the related council meeting that took place on the 21st. And his comment is, and I quote, "I really appreciate the City Council's recommitment to the Human Rights Commission as discussed during the most recent City Council meeting. I also agree with all of the suggested revisions as it pertains to the Human Rights Commission's focus and responsibilities. However, going forward, due to the national political climate, I believe we should keep the name of the Human Rights Commission." And then he finished by saying, on another note, "I wish all of you a happy holiday season, and I look forward to working with you in the new year." End of quote. Okay. All right, so no further public comments. We are not at this moment taking on new business. So we're gonna move right into item number 9, which is the review of the November 21st, 2024 City Council discussion regarding the Human Rights Commission. And at this time, I'd like to open it to commissioners to provide comments. Anyone? For those who were in attendance in person, for those who watched it on YouTube, any comments?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll just, for the record, reiterate basically something that after attending the November 21st council meeting, I reached out to Mayor Pro Tem DeHart and Council Member Middleton. And I'll basically just read what I sent to Council Member Middleton, because for me, it provides a synopsis of what I understood the council's direction was to the city staff, city manager, and city attorney. So I said, I want to thank you personally for your eloquent remarks last evening regarding item 3E, and for your continued commitment to the promotion, protection, and expansion of human rights in our city. I look forward to the council taking up a motion at its final meeting next month, which will be Thursday, to allow the Human Rights Commission to resume business without restrictions at its first commission regular meeting on January 13, 2025. I appreciate that you encourage city staff to retain a focus on human rights, but add responsibilities to strengthen the HRC by encouraging partnerships with agencies with expertise in human rights policies, as well as providers of human services in an updated Chapter 2.45. I also agree with you that the reimagined HRC should retain some type of community service award program, which Councilmember Milton specifically mentioned in her comments on November 21st. I've asked our staff liaison to not only ensure it is mentioned in the new proposed ordinance as a responsibility for the HRC going forward, but also that the HRC agendize an item to discuss a new process for identifying, recruiting, and vetting of candidates and for the selection of recipients of next year's Community Service Award. Hopefully we can have something for the new council to consider next year and to hold a Community Service Award ceremony in the spring of 2025. I've also asked the city attorney and our staff liaison that as they draft the proposed revised ordinance to chapter 2.45 to brief this commission at a future meeting. I'd like to better understand the effect on the city's existing registry of domestic partnerships, which the city clerk now maintains, and the consequences of removing those relevant sections of chapter 2.45, especially for those registered domestic partners who may in the future want to terminate their registration, or for any residents who, for whatever reason, may wish to still enter and register as domestic partners per the current chapter 2.45. So she concurred. Actually spoke with her yesterday at a private function. She again said, thank you for hearing what I said at the November 21st meeting. So I know that council has it on their agenda Thursday, the 12th of December, to take up a motion to let us get back to normal business effective immediately. And that would be in January 12th, right? I think is our next meeting, 2025. So
13.
oh, is it? Oh, my glasses. 13, January 13, 2025. So, and the mayor at the community forum last Wednesday reiterated that he feels the commission should be strengthened and not weakened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was promising. So
What would that mean?
Hmm?
What would that mean? How does that translate into the activities of the Human Rights Commission?
well, I think a lot of that will come out in whatever the proposed ordinance is. However, it gets presented back to council next year, right? Because that will lay out the roles, responsibilities, and duties of this commission going forward. Hopefully, the new council, right, 2 new members, will take whatever I assume Jeremy drafts and discuss it and maybe tweak it, maybe change things. It'll go through a first reading, second reading, and then when we have it approved, we'll know what our mission is going forward. But I think it will have, I'm hoping, an emphasis on human rights and again, specifically Community Service Award program, but you know, yeah, I don't think, I mean, I'm not going to speak for Jeremy or the city manager or city staff or city attorney, but I imagine the new chapter 2.45 will be kind of a framework of what they expect this commission to do, but not get into the specifics of how you should do it.
I have a comment and a suggestion. First of all, thank you, David, because that was really complete and very right on for our purpose here. I was wondering if there'd be a way that we could, in a future agenda, get into a conversation with you, Jeremy, as far as how we interact with you and to understand your role with us and how much time or to just understand the symbiosis of the connection that we have.
Absolutely, I think that'd be a great idea. I think there's some confusion as to what a commissioner can ask of staff member, what staff support can be provided. So I think if, you know, the board gives concurrence here, that might be a good January discussion item to take up.
Or perhaps when we get our new commission members, it might be better if they're coming in new to understand our relationship with you.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know,
makes-
but anyway,
I-
that's the point.
I think that makes more sense in some way to onboard the new commissioners. We have 2 vacancies. I did happen to see Commissioner Cleary today when we were dropping off some donations at Revivals. And I asked him point blank if he intended to be on this commission. And he said, yeah, yes, he thought it was disbanded. But I said, no, I think we're gonna be moving forward in January particularly, and I reminded him about the meeting tonight, but he thought he might be able to attend, but he's not present, so you know, if he does in fact come back in January, we'll still have 2 vacancies, and hopefully those vacancies will be filled by the new council. I think it was Council Member Middleton actually said she hoped that the entire council, or maybe it was Mayor Pro Tem DeHart, I'm not sure which, but that the entire council interview candidates for this commission. Now, they didn't say when they would do that, but hopefully it will. Yes, unless you heard something different, I don't know.
No, I concur with that perception, and I think the council now that is being completed for the next term will take on that, but obviously we'll be, you know, monitoring this and working closely. I think the most important thing is that we really need to have a full body in order to move things forward, because it's clear that it's been too long and we have people waiting already being vetted in some ways. And so now it's in the council responsibility and the hands to help us get that full body back so that we can, you know, move agenda items and have healthy and hearty discussions and really understand what the role of the commission will be moving forward so that we can all work together to make things happen.
Given
I think
the fact of that, some of our commissioners have been absent repeatedly. I don't know if they've been excused. I wonder if in the new bylaws or rules that there would be some requirement or obligation to make, you know, to have 3 excused absences, and then after that to be rolled off the committee, because I think we really need committed members that will show up, because a couple of meetings we didn't even have for.
There is a section of the municipal code currently that
Are you on?
deals with this.
Is your mic on?
There is a section of the code that deals with this. And it says, if a member absents himself or herself without advance permission of the commission from 3 consecutive meetings or 25% of the duly scheduled meetings within any fiscal year, the chair shall file a certification with the city clerk that such absences have occurred, and his or her office shall thereupon automatically become vacant.
Okay.
So it would be an action by the chair to file with the clerk, and then the position will become vacant.
Yeah, and I didn't say this to be punitive, but only that we needed committed members that were willing to show up.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's the intention really, is to be able to have a full body of commissioners that are committed to show up and do the work. Right? That's an important thing. Beverly? Any comments?
I'm looking forward to seeing your draft, you know, I mean, I really am, you know, I have a tendency, unfortunately, not to be very tolerant of process. And this has tried my patience, so hopefully we can start moving along in the next meeting. And actually see something that we can respond to. I'm cautiously optimistic.
I wanna make just a comment that, I mean, it's really great to be back and see you guys, all of you, and you know, there was some disappointment from all of us, through this, whatever it was. So I hope we get re-energized and just get back into it and set this whole past aside and let's see new visions and all of that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I just have one more comment too. Having a strong liaison to the city council so that when we have issues that are brought up, they're brought up and acted on. Otherwise, things get queued up months in advance and then it's sort of inertia sets in. And then pretty soon we're really not accomplishing what we want to do.
I should probably also mention that at the November 21st city council discussion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whoever watched the video or was there, Mayor Pro Tem DeHart, who will be mayor, right? At the next term, next year, said he would be the liaison, or he would come and attend our meetings. I don't know that he committed to being at every one of our meetings. But instead of Mayor Bernstein, it would be Mayor DeHart. So that's good news. And then what else did he? Oh, I just had it and I forgot.
Okay.
No, I don't remember. I think that was the one thing. What was the other thing I wanted to mention about the November 21st thing? Oh, I did have conversation with city attorney about the domestic partnership piece. He's working on that. And he mentioned he was not going to reach out to like the city of West Hollywood to find out, you know, what they did in their municipal code after same-sex marriage became an option. And do they remove
Pretend nothing happened. So Jeremy, you were saying?
Philip, sorry about that. We lost some internet connectivity here, but I see you've joined us again, so I think we're back to business. So a question, we were talking domestic partnerships, and I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of input there, and that I've heard from other community members some confusion over the domestic partnership component. And we think domestic partnership is something that's filed with the Secretary of State, and that is a true and accurate statement. There, under this ordinance, there was also a separate kind of domestic partnership that was filed just with the city clerk. So it was something that was city specific that allowed or provided protections for individuals in this city domestic partnership that weren't afforded to other people during the time. So, you know, if your domestic partner was in a hospital within the city, you couldn't be prevented from visiting them at a time when other avenues didn't provide that protection. So that's the domestic partnership that's referenced within the ordinance, not a domestic partnership that's governed by the Secretary of State. Hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity, but to your point, we still need to figure out what do we do with the register of domestic partners that we do have?
Question, yeah, so like Eisenhower Hospital in Rancho, this ordinance would not apply to them with respect to domestic.
That's correct, just those and where we have jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's great. So going back, what I wanted to bring back, thinking about that, city council meeting on November the 21st, which was incredibly encouraging for me to hear, as I was watching it on the YouTube channel, is that both the, Mayor Pro Tem and Mayor Pro Mayor, were very vocal about their support to, retain and expand the responsibilities of the Human Rights Commission, and that the name of Human Rights Commission will remain. So there will be no changes in that respect. That the core, most of the core responsibilities and assignments to the commission will probably remain, but they will have some expanded responsibilities as well. And here's where the aspect of human services may then enter. So without having to speak for anyone, because we haven't seen, right, the report and what the city council will decide, I suspect that we will see a great number of new responsibilities and potential connections and work that we could pursue, particularly with regard to organizations that have already been doing a lot of the work that we envision for this commission. And just to mention a few, and in light of the political, climate that we're facing right now following the elections, we can totally see us working and collaborating with organizations like Equality California and the ACLU and others. And I just envision us bringing some of those conversations back and bringing those conversations so that the public can also participate. And without us losing sight that we need to continue to be out there in the community doing commission work. So it's just a thought for me now, but we'll see how things move next year. But I certainly feel very, very encouraged about what the year ahead looks.
So regarding human services, perhaps we could create a subcommittee or a task force or something to handle, to be able to be the liaisons between the commission and human services.
Hmm.
And the name of the commission is fine, it just broadens our reach if we include that.
Yeah, we really have to continue to work to make sure that everyone has, their rights protected. And there are many organizations that already have the infrastructure, the resources, the tools, and even the budgets to help us do all that. And the policy and all of that definitely will stay there. But with regard to services, the one thing I recognize is that the county already provides many of these services through social work. And it will be in our advantage to continue to advocate and to educate the public about what is available. So I can see that as part of the work next year, but those are really early thoughts and I can't wait to have a full commission back. To have these healthy and hearty conversations and then follow the city council direction.
So again, I mean, what about the mechanism by which we communicate with council? What
Right now is through our staff liaison. That's the channel.
okay,
But I think if Mayor to be DeHart, it follows through and attends our meetings, maybe quarterly, then he'll hear what is on our mind and
yeah,
can take it back to his
Yeah.
colleagues and give us some more direction. So I'm hopeful, that if we have, like we had Mayor Bernstein here, that Mayor DeHart, who was a former chair of this commission, will, periodically be here, we can
It
bounce
was also
ideas off
interesting
of
to
one.
see, I can't remember her name, but our councilperson, the woman.
Well, there's three of them.
There's three of them. Oh, Grace Gardner?
Grace.
Yeah, Grace, I'm sorry. She was she was here and she took great interest in
Yeah.
moving us ahead, so maybe she'll continue, I don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Grace Carter is sort of a really good example of someone who shows up in the community to various events, very visible, you know, and I think we could take a lead from her in some ways to be visible at various events as being the Human Rights Commissioner.
That's something that I continue to encourage each and every one of you to continue to be out there. Really listening to the community, paying attention to what's happening, their concerns, what people are saying, so that you in turn can bring this back to the commission, and maybe some of those items we can agendize and discuss and agree on how we can support those kinds of situations. That's kind of the role of the commissioner in anyways. So yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting year. Hopefully it'll be a very, very busy year for us. But again, I feel really encouraged from what I heard from that meeting on the 21st, with renewed support for the commission to remain and some other things to be added as well.
When we were talking about the award, are we still looking at that new one for 2025, or are we gonna not that year? Wasn't that in the spring last year?
Yeah.
Was
Say
it
that?
the award, the community award, wasn't that in the spring?
No, it was
So
nominations opened in December.
just
Oh,
as a
you're
quick,
correct.
just a quick reminder, the process will probably change and the
Okay.
vetting process will probably be very different. But in the past, we would receive nominations in November.
Like the last.
The application will be submitted in
Yeah, I
November.
thought we did it in the spring.
Vetting would happen in December.
So obviously we're not
Nominees will
doing
be
that this year.
contacted in December. And then the awards will happen sometime in February, but now this is probably gonna
Yeah. that would
move.
be so. Was that?
Possibly in the spring, possibly in the
Has
summer.
anybody been through one when there was an election? Did the same thing happen? Because
No.
Nobody has.
Not to my recollection.
And so we don't have experience in what happens in election years, because if you have change in guard, it makes a difference, I would think.
Okay, any additional comments
Oh,
from commissioners?
I have a comment. I just want to say that I really do support the Community Service Awards. And recently worked on a nonprofit with Willie Ryan, who it was just super to work with, and really kind of heavily discounted an event that we were having. And I just really am proud to be part of the Human Rights Commission and having recognized somebody like him.
Just for point of clarification, he was an awardee,
Yes,
so
yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was an awardee. Good choice.
that's wonderful, yeah. Okay, any further questions, any other comments before we adjourn?
Are we moving to 10?
We're moving to 10.
Just put
Um,
on your glasses.
I know.
Doing this.
I know, well, yeah, so, I just have two requests. One is, again, contingent on the council's action Thursday, if they approve the motion to allow us to resume business in January. I would like to request that at our regular meeting on Monday, January 13, on our agenda be two things, two agenda items. One is a discussion of a draft process document that we had, Carlotta, or Commissioner Rinke and I had previously worked on the Community Service Award Program. Then we just kind of started thinking about how to revamp that program so we can put something forward to the new council sooner rather than later. So, maybe we could just have a conversation about that And I can share the draft document again
Yeah.
with our staff liaison who can circulate it to our board, to our commissioners for discussion. And the second item I would like to request be on the January 13 agenda. Would be a request from a request to approve an expenditure of $350 for me to attend a human rights conference in Washington, DC, June 3rd and 4th on human rights. It's a human rights conference. It's part of DC World Pride. And since I'm already going to be there for DC World Pride, I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to engage with some other human rights groups, both domestic and international, some volunteer, some funded, to discuss with them, methods and how they reach out to community and how they do their work. And since I'm paying my own transportation and lodging, but I was asking the city through our staff liaison to cover the registration, the early bird registration of $350. So again, both of those requests would be contingent on the council's approval of the motion on Thursday to allow this commission to resume normal business.
So I'm gonna look to the commission to make sure we have a majority of members and we can nod or raise our hands that for either one or both of these requests, we want those on the January agenda. If we have permission and approval to begin regular business at the January meeting. I see one nod, two nods,
Yes.
majority of nods. All right, thank you.
I don't know what we would do in January if they don't approve Thursday. If they don't approve the motion Thursday, I'm not sure what we would do in January. What would we discuss?
Maybe we should have a heads up on that.
I think.
Any additional comments or requests?
Right, David, I think it's one of your comments that you sent out, Commissioner Mignolo, about a budget. Maybe if that's something we can also be addressing in the next meeting, given that the city council approves the new.
Yeah, I think this is part of a larger conversation for budgetary purposes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
Regarding the meeting on Thursday, do you think that we should be at this meeting? Do you think we should?
It's entirely up to you, Commissioner Horn, right? You can do that in person, you can watch the YouTube channel.
Right, okay, I just.
If you want to provide public testimony, you have to submit the request for public testimony to speak.
Okay.
That's how it works.
It is a
No, is
very
it there?
short, one-page consent item. Okay.
Which I think that
Asking for direction to begin taking up new business.
There we go.
Is this the
I can't tell you
new
what to do.
council
You're right.
or the old
no,
council?
this will be the old one.
Oh, no, so this will be their last meeting,
That will be their
Last
last
meeting
meeting
for the
of the
old
year, yeah.
okay.
For the commission, the city, the council that is
Currently
current,
sitting.
and then the new council will take over.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any further comments or requests before we adjourn?
Just, I'm gonna be there Thursday. I will provide public comment. I won't read it, it's really short, but I'm gonna thank the council for approving the motion, hopefully, to enable us to resume consideration of new business effective immediately. It's item 1F, as in Frank, on the evening's consent calendar. I'm gonna reiterate that we, as a commission, I'm not speaking for the commission, but in my individual capacity, I think the commission looks forward to working with the city staff and city attorney to have a draft of a revised chapter. Van Lippin. Oops, sorry. That could have been sent. To have a revised chapter 2.45 of the code for the new council's consideration early in 2025. And lastly, I was just gonna note that I personally was very pleased to hear Mayor Bernstein speak at last week's community conversation in response to community concerns about potential hate crimes and inclusivity following the 2024 election, and reaffirmed the need to strengthen the HRC as well as other boards, committees, and commissions. I hope next year's council, led by Mayor DeHart, will further this commitment by filling the 2 current vacancies on the HRC quickly when they resume business next month, and consider providing HRC with funding so it can carry out its work. So, I'm happy to add anything you want into that.
Alright, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll motion to adjourn.
Okay, and you guys said. So, any further discussion? Thank you so much.
So we have a first by Commissioner Vignolo and second by Lynn.
45 minutes.
We are going to, we're going to adjourn, this commission will adjourn to a regular scheduled meeting on Monday, January 13th, 2025. Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas, and may you have a wonderful holiday season as well. Please stay safe.
You can.
Yeah, everybody.